Hello everyone, welcome back to this episode of Beyond the Barclay with me, Jez Davies. This week I am joined with Mr. David Sturzaker. Hello David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. We're here to discuss your role in a brilliant production called Dear England, which is actually going to be on at the Theatre Royal next week. Perhaps you could just talk a little bit about the role that you're playing and what the play entails.
Yeah, so I'm playing Gareth Southgate, which obviously, I'm guessing most of your listeners are going to be familiar with Gareth and will probably have an opinion about Gareth Southgate. So I'm playing him in the play Dear England, and the play charts the point at which he took over as caretaker manager in 2016, and initially on just a 4-game basis, and he was just tasked with getting England to qualify for the 2018 World Cup, and following that he was then handed the permanent role. So it goes from that very beginning right through to the point at which he left the role of England men's manager in 2024. But yeah, it charts that, and it charts kind of what he wanted to do with the team, how he wanted to alter the culture within the team, and how he did that, and the other personnel involved in helping to do that.
Fantastic. And I guess within the role, you've probably had to do a fair bit of research about how that tale unfolded, and it must be with someone like yourself. Just before we came on, you did say you were a football lover, and how easy was it to do that research? And did you find out anything along the way that perhaps other fans weren't aware of?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is the first time I've played a real life person who is still very much with us. I've played historical figures before, but the benefit we have nowadays is that, benefit or curse, depending on which way you look at it. In this case, it was a benefit for me because so much of Gareth Southgate's life has been documented, whether it's press conferences, interviews, training sessions, touchline stuff. So there's just this kind of almost infinite resource that I can draw on, which of course helps with mannerisms, speech patterns, vocal quality, different sounds and intonation, facial mannerisms, that sort of stuff. So I was able to do a lot of research on that side of the character, and then also look into the point at which Gareth Southgate took over and where the team was at. And obviously the writer as well, James Graham, he did a wealth of research as well. So a lot of that research is already on the page. So it's kind of, to an extent, it's already done for me. But then, I could go as deep as I wanted really into, that period of time for the England men's football team.
That's fantastic, David. So just talk to us a little bit about your own sort of football supporting life and what that entailed.
I was really big into football when I was a kid, when I was sort of 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And this will age me, but that was late 80s. So at the time, Liverpool were the dominant team. It was that team of Aldridge and Rush and Barnes, Beardsley. And I grew up nowhere near Liverpool. I've got no connections to Liverpool at all. So I'm absolute bona fide as a kid glory hunter. There was no doubt about it. But that was kind of just the way it was at school. That you'd go out and you pretend to be a team at lunchtime playing football, and we pretended to be Liverpool. So Liverpool was sort of the team that kind of got me into football, I suppose. Then I kind of tuned out of it a little bit, and this is opening up a big old topic, which I don't know whether we might have time or not to go into, but then as I suppose I got older and my awareness got greater, and maybe as the culture around football changed, then I think football's undergone a lot of changes in the last 15, 20, 25 years, the money, TV rights, the management structure, ownership structure, all of that, it just sort of seemed murkier to me. The whole football world, you know, I think when we all come to football, if we come to football, we come to it in a very pure sense, you know, and it is that thing of jumpers for goalposts and you just kick a ball around and it's great. And you can't, well, obviously some people will, but I think in the essence of it, when you boil it down to the simple game, what a wonderful game, you know. Then when you get to the culture and all the things around it, then I think it gets murkier, and I've just become more and more aware of that. So now I'm more one of those followers who I'm very much aware of what's going on in the leagues, but I don't follow a particular team anymore. But I will absolutely, like a lot of people, sort of follow avidly during the international tournaments.
Yeah, and a couple of points on that, and this is going to sound like a shameless plug, and it is. We covered a team called Hitchin Town this week on the podcast, and they are very much a non-league team. And I think, you know, something for us was that connection between the fans and the players and the club officials was very evident at non-league level. And I think a lot of people enjoy that now because it costs a little bit less, because of that connection. I think, you know, nowadays we see a lot more people want to go and watch these sort of types of clubs.
I think that makes sense, doesn't it? It is, your connection is the word there that really sort of pings out, you know, that people feel that they really do have that connection, that you know, I think that there could be an element of that in the really elevated players and clubs, and there's a distance between fan and player now, in a way that maybe we have to go back a couple of generations to see. You know, when you heard stories about sort of the absolute stars of their time, that they'd share a bus with the fans after the game, you know, to go home, that sort of thing. And I know that's kind of rose tinted, but it's just a demonstration of sort of how things have changed, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think as well as that, and, you know, going back to the play and your role as Gareth Southgate, I think what I kind of think that Gareth Southgate brought was I think a lot of people felt a really big disconnection with the national side back before he got involved, and we weren't doing well in tournaments. You know, I remember when we went out to I think it was Brazil, and didn't even get out of the group, if I remember correctly. And you know, fast forward to now, we've been in two European finals. We were in a World Cup semi-final, and you know, I think he's the reason for that, because of the way that he's interact with the players, interact with the fans, and I think the majority of the fans really got on board with the project there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that really inspired James Graham to write the play, is the national reaction to the England team during 2018, during that World Cup. And it wasn't just that they sort of got out the group and progressed to the knockout stages. I think it was the accessibility. There was an accessibility there, you know, and the fans did feel that they could connect to these players in some way. And that was absolutely part of Gareth Southgate's, that was one of his goals, you know. And there's a line in the play where I say, you know, we can build a more united, supported environment to play in. And that was one of the things. I think James Graham sort of saw that kind of surge of national coming together, and that was one of the inspirations for the play.
Absolutely. Just before we talk about where people can find this play, and I know the premise of this is it's on at the Theatre Royal in Norwich and it'll be on nationally, but just before we do, I just wanted to touch on your career, David. And when I was doing my research for this, I saw you played a doctor on a
I've played a doctor. Yeah,
well known a BBC daytime soap, shall we call it? I mean, talk to us a little bit about that experience and how was that working with some of the guys on there?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was on Doctors, which very sadly, not that I'm going to get political about it, but sadly, Doctors isn't being made anymore. I was with it for nearly 2 years, back in 2009, 2010. It was my first ever telly job. So I was an
brilliant.
actor prior to that. I'd just done theatre before that, and then what a first telly job that was, because going in as a regular on something, it is exactly what it says it is. You're doing it day in, day out. You're learning, and the pace of Doctors as well. You know, we filmed a lot of content on a daily basis, so there wasn't a lot of the hanging around that you get on the bigger productions. It was great. It was full of a lot of people that were there for all the right reasons. Just wanting to learn and wanting to do the best they could. So yeah, I had a great time doing that.
Yeah, I remember some of the. I mean, I don't know the actors' names, but I remember the guy that was in One Foot in the Grave, who was Victor Melcher's next door neighbour, was one of the doctors, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, I can't remember. We might not have crossed over. Yeah.
No, can't remember his name. And then there was the woman that was in. She was in Extras with Ricky Gervais. She was one of the. She was one of. I can't remember the Ricky Gervais in Extras, but essentially, done a sitcom, didn't he, called When the Whistle Blows, and she was one of the,
yeah. I mean, some amazing people sort of came through the doors of the studio when we were doing that. It was phenomenal.
That's fantastic. So yeah, just before I let you go, then David, so just talk to us once again. Where can the guys that are listening to this find the play, and how can they book tickets for the show at the Theatre Royal?
Yeah, Norwich Theatre Royal. So we're going to be there as of next Tuesday, which I think is the 3rd of February. And we'll be running there through till Saturday week. So if you go to Norwich Theatre Royal website, then then there's going to be, you'll be able to get tickets that way. Or the Dear England Play UK Tour, if you search for that, then we've got a website on that as well.
We do have some... believe it or not, we do have some listeners a little bit further flung from Norwich. So where's next for the play? Where are you heading to next?
After that, so Norwich, then we've got Woking, and then Bradford, then Wimbledon, Liverpool, Birmingham, and that then concludes the tour. So, yeah,
fantastic. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for coming on to speak to us.
Thanks, Jez. Appreciate it.
No worries at all. And I will just before I let you go, give us a little prediction for the World Cup this year. Then how do you think we're going to do?
However, if England do really well, I think you've got to give a lot of credit to the foundation that Gareth Southgate,
it's good.
Thomas Tuchel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a serious point to that, as well as prediction. I'm gonna say semis.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I'd go with semis.
Yeah,
semis. I just think. You're right. He has built a solid foundation. I think Tuchel's obviously done really well with the qualifiers. So I think as long as we can continue that form, and I think we're semis as well. So yeah, thank you very much. And I think that'd be a good result all round. But yeah, best of luck for when the show starts. And thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Jez.
No problem at all. And for everyone else watching, please do like and subscribe on our channel for more great content. You can find us on all of the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram and X. We are available on YouTube and Apple and Spotify. Proudly supported by Master Seal and Pie Design and part of the Talk Sport fan network. I've been Jez Davies. And I've been David. You can say I've been
David Sturzaker.
I was going to say, you can say I've been Gareth Southgate if you want. Might get a few more listeners.
I've been David Sturzaker pretending to be Gareth Southgate.
Cheers, David. All the best.